Hey guys, welcome to BHL Conversations. I am taking over. The crew is out. It's Joelle running the show, which is a little crazy and a little weird, but it's going to be so much fun because we have Mishel Scott and Kelsey Scott, Mishel Prada. I got it right the first time. We're so excited to have them in the building. If you don't know who they are yet, you're going to know soon. Stay tuned.
You are tuned in to Black Hollywood Live Conversations.
Hey guys. We are having issues. So the song is perfect. What a week. Thank you guys so much for being here at Conversations. Daryl's out. Everybody's doing their own thing this week. But that's okay, because I'm here holding it down. Just me. It's cool. I'm going to rag on them the whole time. It's totally fine. We have Kelsey Scott and Mishel Prada here. Thank you ladies so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
This is incredible. If you guys are not watching their series, you need to. It's a web series. The Walking Dead. Incredible stuff. You guys nominated for, and the show's nominated for an Emmy. You're nominated for an Emmy. Yes. This is crazy. How do you? And for web content, this is only the second year. You guys were telling me before we began. First of all, when the announcements come out the morning of, how do you guys hear? Are you guys in a group chat?
We weren't in a group chat.
You were really on it. I was very I don't really want to pay attention to it
I
too
wanted
much.
to know.
But Kelsey was refreshing and was like, I need to know. But it's a good combo, I think.
Yeah, we're one of the categories where they're not going to announce it actually live on the air, so you have to go on the website and find out. But before I could even go on the website, a friend of mine sent me a text, and she was like, I think you're nominated. It's like, yay. Let me see that, because I need to see it.
That's
so
incredible. I'm really excited for you guys because the show is kind of like a feminist anthem in like that scripted form. You guys are helping each other out, and then I get to see you guys bonding outside of that experience. It's clear that you guys are friends. It's clear that you like each other. Can you guys talk a little bit about what was it like on set and how did the show come into being?
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. I was just gonna pass it over to you, but
This is Kelsey's signature move.
Is that my yeah? Okay. All right. So how did the show come into being? Well, you kind of have to explain how the show is structured. So last year, the way Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead air, you get a half a season of Walking Dead and then a half a season of Fear the Walking Dead and then second half. And so they came up with this idea to kind of give some salacious nuggets to the folks who watch Fear the Walking Dead while Walking Dead was airing. So they said, we're going to get this standalone web series and we're going to show it during the commercial breaks of Walking Dead. So each episode is like 50 seconds long. It's like a commercial. So there are 16 episodes in all. It plays while Walking Dead is airing, and then when Fear the Walking Dead comes on, you feel like, oh yay, I'm all like up to speed and great. And so they did that for the first time last year. I think probably as an experiment, kind of.
Yeah, it was.
I remember
and
that.
it worked out really, really well for them. They got nominated for an Emmy last year. The lead actress got nominated last year, and they said, oh, well, we should do this again. So we are part of the second season. It's a standalone, so it's not attached to the first season. So we're completely new characters, and we had our run during the first half of Walking Dead this year.
Now, remind me, because I'm a full season behind on the first cast. They make their way to the show, right?
Yes. So, you might see somebody. We'll see.
Oh.
We'll see.
Not our decision, but certainly our pleasure.
I like that.
We're gonna have to keep our fingers crossed. Right in Walking Dead staff writers room on Twitter. You guys, Talking Dead, hit everybody up and just be like, so those ladies were pretty great.
Please, and
in prime time where they belong, shining. Excellent. I know you produce outside of Walking Dead and you're writing outside. I'm really kind of fascinated by the new landscape that is TV airing on like the web series and streaming and all of that. Have you guys ventured into that on your own, doing projects like that? Or are you still kind of with like original formatting? Is that your preference as far as like shorts and things?
Well, I work with the director Jessie Hill, and we wrote and produced a short, just like a short art film that premiered in Junk Magazine, which is just a magazine, a zine run by Imogen Barron, who's a really cool stylist. And so we did that, and it was in Spanish. It was subtitled. It was really fun to be able to write something for myself that I thought was really beautiful and meant something to me. So it's great to get to do that because we shot it on Super 8, which was a lot more expensive than we realized at the time. But you know, I've also done a few art films on the iPhone, and it's really cool how you can manipulate it. And
Yeah, I saw my first iPhone feature at South by Southwest last year, Matthew Cherry's
it?
9 Rides,
oh, okay.
which is an incredible film.
Got a couple of friends in that.
Yeah,
Dorian Missick.
Matthew does a really good job of just hiring everybody who needs to be on the come up. Everyone where you're like, why is that person not? And Matthew's like, I got it. Don't even worry. I'm going to put them in my movie. They're going to shine. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, it's an incredible film, completely shot on the iPhone 6, I think. And they like suction cups on cars and things, trying to get shots. Like,
Nice.
I think they shot it in like a week or less. So the indie filmmaking market is strong. You said you had a film in junk and that it was personal to you. Like, what was the film about?
So it was right around the time that Planned Parenthood was. There was a lot of conversation of defunding it. Not that it's not now, but it was that very specific time. So it was just kind of, especially in the Latin community. I grew up in Miami. There's a lot of interesting shame surrounded by birth control, and I think a lot of times people don't. Just the old Latin families don't realize what it means on the other side. You have all these young girls having kids that don't want them or aren't ready for them, and what happens to those kids. So it was actually just a very, very surreal piece that was, I find out I'm pregnant and my boyfriend leaves me, and just kind of like I lose it a little bit. And it's just in a world where abortion or birth control isn't really an option. So
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Is this available on VOD? Can I rent it?
No, it's like a 5-minute little short film that we did. It's on Junk Magazine.
Yes, I love that. We're definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah.
And then I know you're doing writing and stuff. What projects are you working on?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. But I've been a screenwriter for a while, actually, because I started my career acting, and then I had always written but not written films. I'd written poetry and prose and even theater, and then once I learned the kind of film writing structure at film school, and that's when I started that part of it. And I actually kind of stepped away from acting for a while and was just doing the screenwriting and directing, and so now I get to do both. So it's really great. So I have some kind of original projects. I have some things that have been produced, and then I have lots of stuff in development because that's how Hollywood runs. Development.
Super exciting to hear two women of color creating content that they want to see and want to be a part of. What kind of stories are you interested in telling?
You know what? I am interested in telling the untold. Because I think there's the idea of approaching your typical rom-com or your typical even suspense or horror film from more of a multicultural perspective. So I actually think that's an untold story. And then just some stories that maybe are specific to, let's say, Black women that we don't see enough of. The representation is not out there as much. So I'm excited about turning a spotlight on that.
Shout out to all the Black women at TIFF holding it down right now. Dee Reese is out there releasing her new film Mudbound, which I'm hearing early reviews coming back of just excellent, amazing, stunning things. So it's kind of an exciting time, I think, particularly for women of color, as we've got, Asian American women in Star Trek now and leading the next Star Wars movie. Of course, Ava out here killing it every day.
All the time.
All the time. That
All
woman
the
must
time.
not sleep.
And we're okay with that.
I'm really down. Please continue to direct all of my childhood fantasy movies. I want them. But yeah, okay, guys, super awesome. I want to get into some hot topics, if you don't mind. Yes, let's do it. You mentioned you're from Miami. My bestest friend in the whole world is down there. I was on the phone with her all day yesterday, like, when do you leave? She's like, I'm not. I'm holding down the fort. She's like, we're boarding up windows. Granny's not going anywhere, so neither am I. It is scary out there. Just some statistics from Harvey. They had 39.72 inches just between Thursday and Monday, 50 inches overall, 9 days of rain, 130 mile per hour winds. I've been leveled like 80 to 90% of structures across the islands that it hit, and now, of course, it's headed to Florida, super intense week. Do you still have family down there? Are they bunkering down?
Yeah, they don't leave. It's it's an interesting thing. I was really young, but I was there for Andrew.
Yeah.
And it's just so many times the hurricanes come really close and then just skirt up. So I think there's always that idea that it's never really going to actually hit as strong as they make it out to be. And a lot of the media loves to make it, like this big monster coming through. But as it gets closer to land, it usually does weaken quite a bit. But there's also that idea of just like, I'm not leaving my home. I'm going to defend this till the end. And
I have such mixed feelings because I have, my friend's sister was down where Harvey hit, and luckily they got to a shelter in enough time, but like they came back and there's no house and no car. Yep. But at the same time, I know people who stayed and were able to protect a lot of their land and make sure, their house stayed together. So it's kind of incredible. Do you think he would evacuate?
I think I would.
I feel like
I
would too.
I
was trying to get my mom to leave.
Brave the elements. Yeah.
Also,
too unpredictable.
I think I remember with Andrew, it was really scary in the house. I mean, it sounds like a train was running through the middle of the house, and I had friends whose roof completely blew off, and they were just the whole family holding onto mattresses, just hoping to not get hit by stuff. And I'm just not trying to do that.
Yeah, I was reading and talking to some people on Twitter earlier about those who can't evacuate.
Yeah.
I know now if you wanted to hold out until the last minute, just getting gas is next to impossible. There's no gas. I have friends taking pictures of aisles that are completely empty. There's no food left. So it's just kind of scary. So of course our thoughts are with everybody down there trying to survive. You guys are survivors. We'll send help. DM me. I will figure it out. This stuff is terrifying. To somebody who just lives through, I lived through tornadoes. I was a Midwest girl. A tornado comes through, it's done, and then it's over, and you're like, great. When somebody told me about hurricanes, I was like, how? I don't understand. Trying to protect yourself from all that is crazy. Speaking of hurricanes, L'Oreal is kind of dealing with a difficult hurricane of their own right now. Thank you. They originally hired Monroe Bergdorf, who is, I believe, Instagram famous. Is how she started her modeling career. She's a trans model of color. She's a Black woman. She was invited to be a part of their diversity campaign, which is great. We're seeing a lot of makeup companies do this, embracing diversity, getting shades that appeal to all skin colors, which is challenging.
About time.
Right? Thank you. But the problem, somebody went back and found old tweets from Bergdorf, which essentially said, racism is a structure that exists in society. If you're white, you profit from that structure, and you need to be aware of that. Racism exists. I'm paraphrasing, but this is essentially what she was saying. People turned that into saying that she was racist and hated white people, which, guys, no. So L'Oreal let her go. They said that, you don't fall in line. Yesterday, Bergdorf came after Cheryl Cole, who's a part of this campaign. Cheryl Cole was accused of hitting a woman. She was accused of the charges, but she was recused of the charges. She didn't have to pay anything or go to jail, but it's still kind of messy. I guess my question for you guys is, especially as women of color, I think you have to kind of make these difficult decisions about who you're going to partner with and where you're going to sit. Another model left after another model left after Monroe was fired. She was a Black model, and she said that, if you don't support her, you don't support me, and I don't want to be a part of your campaign, which is super dope. Because scary. Can you get hired now? Are you the person that causes a problem? How do you guys kind of deal with this when you come across it? Or have you had to endure that in your career of just making choices of, am I standing by skin folk, or am I trying to advance my career?
I mean, I think it's always going to be a bit of a conundrum. The idea is, how political do you get when it could affect your livelihood? I mean, I have taken stands on things like Planned Parenthood, and I am aware that I could say something that rubs a lot of people the wrong way. But you're not just artists, you're just human beings. So you just have to decide whether or not you want to be a human being who is also a mouthpiece for your cause, or if you just want to believe it silently, or you support it financially. I mean, there are any number of ways to be a supporter of certain causes. And you just have to make that decision and what you are willing to lose in light of that decision. So I think it's a case-by-case basis.
And I think it is important, if we think of even historically women, it's been a lot of just stay in line, don't worry about it. And I think now more than ever, I mean, we really need to not and just speak out for what we believe, and also know we have the ability to change our mind. There are times where, you know, maybe I haven't read the exact tweets themselves, but maybe that was something that she believed at that point, and maybe she could have said it better, but it's something that we can just be like, yeah, maybe I kind of said that not in the best way. This is really what I meant, and just to allow ourselves to be humans. And
to be fair
clarify.
to somewhat fair, I guess, to L'Oreal, Monroe has like tripled down on her statement and is now making full rounds media
good
circuit
for
wise
her.
to be like, no, I stand by what I said. It is an institutionalized system that we have to live with. So yeah, I think
more power to her. Good for her. If it's something she believes in and she stands by what she says, then
it's incredibly brave, especially
Yeah.
again, because she's not just a woman of color, but she's a trans woman of color in modeling, which is hard to have longevity of career. So
it's a big risk for her.
it's a huge risk
Yeah.
for her. And I think that it's kind of a much more complicated rope to walk if you're a woman of color, because your fan base initially tends to be also women of color.
Right.
And so you want to make sure that at the same time that you're doing the best thing for yourself. I mean, maybe I disagree. I think, like, you know, for people who follow me, like, I always want to represent them well. I think if you're going to take a stand for me or promote me in any way, like, I want to make sure that I'm at least talking to you and connecting with you in a way that is genuine and supporting. I don't know if I want to say the thoughts you have in me or what you think I am, because that's hard. You can't please everybody all of
Right,
the time.
right.
But holding down, you know, that core, that group is really challenging. But power to Monroe for kind of holding her own and for still just killing the game. If you follow her on Instagram, just amazing.
Yeah.
I also guess, do I want to go to Lil Wayne or we could talk about Lil
I
Wayne?
feel like that's a bumper sticker. Do I want to go to Lil Wayne?
You know, actually, let's talk about Gina really quick. Because do you guys watch Jane the Virgin at all?
I love Jane the Virgin.
Freaking love that show. The main actress, Gina,
Rodriguez.
thank you, just got a deal with CW. So she'll be producing a ton of new shows for
Oh,
them.
good for her.
Where she is very loudly and vocally like, this is for the Latino community. Somebody tweeted her the other day and they're like, hey, if you're going to support the Latino community, I hope you're also going to support the Afro-Latina community in your endeavors. And she hit right back. She's like, I know who needs to be seen and we are working on it. So first of all, kudos to CW. I know
Yes.
Jane the Virgin has done amazing things for them in the same way that Crazy Ex-Girlfriend has done a lot for people with different anxiety issues and mental issues. Jane the Virgin has done a lot for people who choose to abstain from sex. It's done a lot for people who choose to continue to have a faith and be vocal about it in public. It's been great for Latino women. And Gina is kind of my rock star. I love everything that she does. So I'm excited to see these shows. What kind of stories do you guys kind of hope maybe get to be told through this medium?
Well, that's exciting, I think, because that's something also that we talk about new stories being told. Within the Latino community, I'm Dominican, and I have, Black family members, I have lighter skinned family members, and it's so interesting how that, even within that, there's the minority tag, but it encompasses so many different people. And it is better that we're stronger together, but it is, it's so diverse. And then even with the Latino, I think it's like now Latinx.
Is that what it is now?
Yeah,
Okay.
So it's genderless. And
Yeah.
that way you kind of describe the whole community.
Exactly. But that's an interesting thing. Even the racism amongst Latinos drives me crazy. And you're like, well, we're kind of from the same country, but just because like half of my family has darker skin and the other doesn't, it's just like this interesting thing. So I would like to see more stories like that, because I think it's something that people don't even realize, that within South America, the Caribbean, and just a lot of the Latino countries, that it is something that exists as well, which is so silly and wild.
It
And I
would be
think people
great to
don't
see
realize.
mixed race families, because like when my family gathers for like a full
Oh, yeah.
picture, people are like, "Are you guys all related?"
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
We run the
all.
full
Right.
scale
Yeah.
of skin colors. Just
As it
very
should
diverse.
be.
Yeah.
I feel like the Caribbean eventually, hopefully, will all end up, everybody, you have the blonde hair with the blue eyes and then the darker skin, and everybody's related and sitting down to the table and just like eating food and laughing,
great food,
drinking rum. I don't know.
How about you? What kind of stories do you hope maybe Jean is able to explore through this medium?
Well, I mean, I think everything that she's already talking about, I mean, she has proven not just in this moment, but in the past to be like one of those brave artists that we talked about that is so not afraid to step out and to be a mouthpiece for causes that she believes in. And so I actually expect pretty edgy stuff from her because I feel like she's not afraid to walk that line and to challenge people's mindsets. And so I'm looking forward to her really kind of stepping outside the box and not just creating a show, but creating a show that's conversation worthy.
Yeah, there's that really amazing quote, which is well-behaved women don't make history. And it's like, we just have to not be scared of losing a fan base, losing this, losing that. It's just, you be who you are, and your tribe's going to find you. Right. And don't be scared of it.
Absolutely. And I think the advent of social media has really helped.
Yeah.
There's a hashtag going around today because Time magazine did this great retrospective on just all the women who did something first. And I think is it She Is First? Is that the hashtag?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is. I tweeted it earlier, so I should know it. But literally just naming all of these women and the firsts that they had. She's the first woman to do this. She's the first woman to do that. And it's
Serena
really
Williams
beautiful.
is on there. Issa Rae,
Everyone
Ava
is on
DuVernay.
there. It's
I think
gorgeous.
Michelle Obama.
Oh, cool.
It's an incredible campaign to highlight the successes women have made, even in just the last 10 years. It's kind of been amazing.
Women shattering the glass ceiling in so many different areas.
And also in a lot of ways that we don't even realize, like Albert Einstein is credited obviously for so much, but his wife was a mathematician and she was working on so many.
Did you catch Genius?
No.
Oh my gosh!
I know,
If you
I have to watch
so
Genius.
it's crazy to me because so many people after watching that show they come back and be like, Einstein's wife was shafted, and that was my education into her as a human being. And then from there, I actually interviewed the actress who played Mileva, and she talked about reading her diaries and her journal entries and the letters that she wrote, and just the complete isolation of being a woman that was intelligent at that time. It's just no one cared. No, there was not. You have babies now, so what are you even talking about? Science, boo, go away. Definitely check out Genius. It's super good. They do
great.
Mileva all the way right. Like she's
Nice.
the producers talked about how that was one of their main goals, was making sure that she kind of got the credit that she had always just rightfully deserved.
That's awesome.
That's
yeah,
nice,
that's
yeah.
such a great
good to hear.
thing because she did so much for what we know with physics. It's
Definitely
really wild, but we don't really know her.
But isn't that the case? There are always these unsung heroes whose stories don't get told. And you were asking me earlier about the types of stories. That those are the untold stories. Like, it's you've got the person who's always in the forefront, but they didn't do it by themselves, or sometimes they didn't do it. Let's dig a little more deeply and see what's really going on.
That's interesting that you bring that up because I want to kind of talk about a little bit about hip hop culture, and I guess I've just been noticing a lot lately and it's nothing new. It's just, I think as you get older and you go back to the songs that you really do, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like, the beat's good, but he kind of hates women.
Right. Dance to this at 10. Why was I celebrating this? And the thing I've been hearing a lot from male rappers is like, it's not just the idea of the trophy girl, which is, kind of stereotypical, but the idea of like the silent trophy girl, which really freaks me out. Like she is there and she's hot and she cooks good, but also when she's around my friends, she just kind of stands in the background. And I've noticed a lot of guys doing this just in daily life of, I don't want you to interact with the women I bring around, which is what I've always thought. I'm like, that's cute. You brought a human in my presence, and I'm me. We're going to talk.
Yeah,
like, I
we're
don't
gonna talk.
even know what you're doing. But this idea of I don't need my girlfriend to be my partner, but literally just to be kind of a service
dressing?
icon. Yes, set dressing is a perfect word for it.
Yeah.
Which is just,
That's horrible.
it is, and it's stressful. It's, I think, just because as you're trying to, again, work in a community that is dominated by a male presence, I mean, I'm really grateful. I work with Black Girl Nerds, who is led by Jamie Broadnax, who's our super fearless leader. She gets so many of us started in this industry, gets pathways for Black women who maybe didn't go to school for journalism or who haven't ever practiced it, but who are interested in reviewing and talking about things. She gives them an opportunity, a platform, and then helps push them into their next career move.
That's great.
We're seeing Ava DuVernay do the same thing with Queen Sugar, where she's bringing in all of these
female
directors.
directors.
It's female directors who have been working, which is what's crazy to me. So you're like, Ava's like finding out, like, these are not ingenues. These are not new women. These are women who are
seasoned
incredibly
professionals that could not get a break in television for no reason at all. No
Sally
good reason at
Richardson
all.
is amazing.
Oh, she's great.
She is amazing. She's a wonderful director. Give her all of her features. I know she's writing them. I know she's creating them. We get funding. I don't know how we find it for her, but we need to. And yeah, I don't know. It's just been frustrating. I know I like Lil Wayne a lot coming up, and I just listening to his music, and then now hearing he's with the seizures, he's been hospitalized. So obviously our thoughts go out to Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. Are you guys still feeling hip hop? Are you like, does it bother? Are you able to? I know some girls are like, you know what? Not talking about me. I don't really care. That beat is fire. I will be dancing to it. I know some girls who are like, I know women like the ones that they're talking about. That's a valid form of expression. Does it bother you?
It does for me. First of all, I'm not a hip hop head, so like I was never kind of like really deep into the culture anyway. I'm really, really square. Listen, I'm fine. I've embraced it. So I've always kind of been the person that listened to the lyrics. So the hot song comes on the radio, and I get into the beat like anybody else does, and then I start listening, and then I decide whether or not that's a song that I listen to again. That's kind of been. Now I've fallen prey to a really great beat. I'm not going to say I'm perfect, but I pay attention, and it's interesting having that conversation with people who are just about the musicality of it, and I understand that. I mean, that is an artist's expression, whether I agree with it or not. But I choose to sometimes I have to turn on. Okay, not Casey Kasem, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I
I have
got
to
you.
sometimes I have to take it in a different direction because I just don't feel comfortable, just not that I pop lock into a song that's denigrating women. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think you have to be really careful with the words that you say to yourself. It's so easy to fall into some really negative self-talk, self-chatter, and then to be listening to something that doesn't really make you feel like the amazing, beautiful creature you are. Not interested.
This is Insecure brought this up. Molly was talking 2 episodes ago about how Solange's a seat at the table just stays on repeat in her car for this exact reason.
Man.
Because every day after I get off work, I need these words of motivation
Yes.
to just get me
Yeah.
through this traffic until I get home because the world is crazy. Between SZA's new album Control, which is amazing. I don't know if you guys, SZA's like brand new. She wrote songs for Rihanna. And somebody else I can't remember right now. But she's an incredibly talented artist, and she talks about in the late 20s. I like a guy, but he is awful, and I should not be with him. What are my decisions? Why? And then what is the name of Diddy Bot? I cannot remember the name of this artist, but we have a lot of women coming out with these really great albums of power control and doing hip hop and R&B and mixing it, which is always exciting. I feel like The Weeknd is somebody who always sneaks up on me where I'm listening and I'm like, yes, and then I'm like, oh no,
right,
what?
exactly. You're like, what am I singing?
Yeah, because he's not rapping. He's like singing it in his good voice. And
His
you're
good
like, wait a
voice.
minute.
Like he does. Oh no!
You're like, no, stop it.
No cocaine. Get out of here. What are we doing the weekend? I don't like it. Yeah. I don't. Other hot topics this week? This is so like
what
there's
else is
so many
going
things
on?
happening.
Everything is going on.
It's
we're
true.
gonna avoid the big orange topic in the room.
I mean, we always have one. I will just say briefly, Devos came out this morning, and said that she was going to relook at the laws Obama had passed about colleges taking on rape cases to make it more fair for the accused.
Interesting.
She wanted to make it more fair for the accused. That's what she was saying.
Yeah. So they're looking at rewriting the laws. It's going to take months, apparently.
That's a really touchy thing, especially because I think it already is pretty fair for the accused. Like,
Since they get off, I want to say like 80% of the time on college campuses. Don't quote me on that statistic, but way too often. I just had a friend go through this. It is frustrating to say the least. I know you ladies who support Planned Parenthood very openly that, these girls, these people, because it can happen to anyone, can't shake a fair trial or can't even get in the front door to get started on these things
or
to get
you
justice.
carry the shame of it. A lot of times you don't even come out because the man doesn't carry the shame of it. You become the woman that got sexually assaulted, and it's like, oh yeah, she's the one that got it. And it's just, that's not okay. It shouldn't be this shame that we have to then bravely carry on. There's a documentary on Netflix, I think, about that, and I watched it with my boyfriend, which was amazing. I am always... He always likes watching the Marvel and the Spider-Mans and stuff. And then when I get to pick, it's always something that's really depressing. But I'm like, you need to know about this.
We can't take action if we don't know.
We randomly, well, it was my choice to choose the Netflix and chill. I would choose the rape documentary. But it was actually really amazing because after it, he was just like, I had no idea. And he's a white man. And it's been an interesting thing being in a relationship with him because he's so loving and so... accepting, comes from a really great family, but there is a lot sometimes that I realize, I have to accept you for the background that you came from because you don't know what I came from, and I can't expect you to know that. And I expect you to be tolerant and accepting and respectful of me. I need to be respectful of the fact that you don't. There's things you just don't know.
Now, there's a topic I feel like we don't talk about a lot about enough, which is like white people who are becoming woke. And like it. Like both my roommates are white. They both grew up very poor, and so it's funny where we intersect about like, food making. We tend to we're like right there. We're together. We're like, okay, I know what we're doing here. We gotta put things together. We gotta make it happen. But then sometimes we'll be talking about things culturally. One is from the South where she was talking about the statues, and she was like, Robert E. Lee he's a mercenary. He didn't even want statues, but like history. And I was like, okay, so sit down so we can have the whole conversation about why these. And she was like, it is really hard changing a whole history of thought. And I was like, yes, it is challenging, but you're doing it. I'm so proud of you.
But isn't that what the model was talking about in the first place? Kind of circling back to the beginning.
Yes.
She was just saying that this exists, and pretending that it does not make it go away, does not mean that you are not a beneficiary of it. It's still here. So isn't that exactly what she was saying? I mean, I like you, I have not personally read the tweet, so I don't want to represent for what she was saying. But in concept, it's the idea that these issues exist, and there's nothing we can do about them if we don't see them first.
If we don't
we have to look them in the face and do something about them.
And just be open to learning. It's like, I don't know what it was like to be raised in an Asian family, and even though we're all considered minorities or anything, but it's just understanding and being open to listening and talking to each other. Because if not, then we're all just defending our ideas, and it's such a weak, silly place to be.
And it creates, I feel like, the kind of Hollywood where we've landed right now, which is like, I love Los Angeles. I have nothing against Hollywood or Hollywood culture. I think that there's a time and a place for it, but I also think it's frustrating to see the same stories perpetrated over and over again when we know there are rich fields of stories ready for the picking, and people excited to tell those stories who are not just capable but ready to go. And I know you ladies are a part of that group, making your stories happen. So I want you guys to go check out, first of all, Walking Dead. It's on YouTube?
No. It's on AMC.com.
Thank you.
And it's Fear the Walking Dead Passage. We're because there's The Walking Dead, there's Fear the Walking Dead, then there's Fear the Walking Dead Passage. That's us.
I love it. Check out Passage. Definitely, write your local Walking Dead fan club presidents. Let them know that it should be their mission to get these ladies on the regular show so we can see them in prime time where they belong. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this crazy episode.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
It's
this is
inspirational talking to you guys. I'm so excited to see what you do next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys can come back. Oh, Twitters. I did jump all the way into this. Where can people find you if they want to see you as an individual?
Okay, as an individual, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Ms. Kelsey Scott, MS Kelsey Scott.
Yep, and then for Twitter, I'm at Mishel Prada, Mishel, and then on Instagram, it's Mish, Mishe Prada.
Excellent. I'm Joelle.
You can find both of us at Sierra and Gabby on Instagram.
Yeah.
Wait, you guys have a shared Instagram?
For our characters, yes.
That's so cute.
We kind of like each other.
Yeah.
I love this friendship. More of this in Hollywood. More of these kinds of lady friendships all over my TV. I love it. I have been Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique, and every week at blackgirlnerds.com. If you follow me on Instagram, coming up, we have a lot of premieres coming. I'm going to be with Netflix for the Kings of Comedy reunion tour. Dave Chappelle is going to be there. It's gonna be lit. I'm really excited. We've got the premiere of American Assassins on Tuesday, and then I'll be at the Fox premiere of their shows on Thursday. So if you want to see all the behind the scenes, check me out. Instagram, Joelle_Monique. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Hi.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Keven Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in. The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.